Okay, great.
Do you know how long the U.S. troops have stayed in Iraq and Afghanistan? It's been 11 years. Do you know how many U.S. troops have died since the war began in 2001? Over 4,000 U.S. soldiers have died so far during the war. What is the amount of money that the U.S. have spent fighting the war in Afghanistan? CBS News senior political reporter Brian states that $7 billion have been spent on this war estimated. Hi, my name is Chen, and today I'm going to talk about should the U.S. withdraw its troops from Afghanistan? I'm at the Human Rights Work Group. I think it should. My first main point is the Afghanistan war has caused too many U.S. soldiers to die and cost the U.S. government a lot of money. There's so many U.S. troops have been killed and injured during the war in Afghanistan. Experts have found the number of U.S. troops casualties. President Obama states that the war in Iraq has means the death of 4,400 U.S. troops and at a cost of more than $700 billion. If the U.S. continues to station its troops in Afghanistan, the drastic cost of human lives and financial expenses will be judged by history, according to Anthony Blinken, National Security Advisor to Vice President Joe Biden, 2011. Thus, if we design our troops stay in there longer, the problems will be more worse. Last year, the Veterans Administration traded almost 100,000 Iraq and Afghanistan veterans for PTSD, and suicide among U.S. soldiers reached an all-time high this year. From democraticnow.org 2012. More soldiers will suffer from PTSD and commit suicide if we stay our troops in Afghanistan. The evidence also shows the longer U.S. is at war, the larger the number of deaths and injuries. The Pentagon says there have been 133 active duty military suicides in 2009, 123 suicides in 2010, and 130 suicides in 2011, according to NewYorkTimes.com. More than 25% of homeless population in the U.S. are military veterans. This is a troubling issue if we do not remove our troops from this war. The suicides and homeless rate among the U.S. will increase rapidly. As this graph shows, the number from 2001 and 2010, the deaths have increased rapidly each year. During the war, villages, roads, and bridges have been destroyed, and a large amount of money have been wasted at this war. The expert says that at least 10,000 villages have been bombed, shelled, and burned. Hundreds of thousands of Afghan families have lost their home, according to NewYorkTimes.com. The U.S. has spent too much money on this war. The U.S. has spent $118 million to rebuild houses, roads, bridges, as well as compensate villages and soldiers in 2011, according to NewYorkTimes.com. And this graph shows the money, how much money that the U.S. has wasted on this war, from 2001 to 2011. There's a big difference between 2001 and 2011. And the next main point is my solution. How can the U.S. reduce the cost and the deaths in Afghanistan? The Afghanistan government should take responsibility for its country's security. And it is time to get the U.S. troops out of after they have been trying to assist the country for over 10 years. the Afghan government should take over the country's security. According to NewYorkTimes.com, President Obama declared that America had largely achieved its goals in Afghanistan, setting in motion an aggressive timetable for the withdrawal of troops by 2014. Our troops have completed the mission of killing Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda in Pakistan. Thus, we should be welcoming our troops back home as honorable heroes, not left them there to die. U.S. troops should return home from Afghanistan and replaced by a team of security advisors from the U.S. Mr. Junior said recently in widely known comments on CBS Face the Nation, the U.S. needs to resist the entire region. We need to understand our being in the middle of countries like Afghanistan is probably counterproductive, according to WashingtonTimes.com 2012. Therefore, the U.S. has reconsidered its option for dealing the terrorists in Afghanistan and surrounding regions. Leaving the troops to fight a costly war is not the best option. Here's my conclusion. The U.S. troops should withdraw the troops from Afghanistan before 2014. If we do not take into consideration in human cost or the financial cost in the troubling economic times, then the situations in Afghanistan will continue to become worse, and the more life and money will be wasted. The troops have done the task they were commanded to do for the people of Afghanistan and its government. Having the troops stay there is giving them the impression that we do not care if they live or die in a foreign country. We are concerned for the loss of civilian life. However, our main priority is our men and women in our military service. Yes.
Thank you, Chen. Before you sit down, I just wanted to make clear just one point, and that was of all the reasons that you've given, and there's quite a few reasons here of why we should get out of Afghanistan. What do you think was the strongest argument for getting out?
Not too many U.S. troops have died, and
you're saying not too many troops have died?
Too many.
And can you explain why that's what troops do? They die. So why is that a good reason? Can you explain that?
Like if we withdraw our troops, they might reduce the deaths and causes.
Yeah, well, what about the deaths of Afghan civilians?
We can just send some security advisors to country to help the government.
So that's part of the plan that you didn't talk about.
I can find.
Well, I mean, it is part of Obama's plans. You didn't find anything about that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you, Judge.